Hi, my name is Bernard Brault with OTN Systems, and if you've been following this video series, then this is a follow-up on SCADA system. And in the past, what we've done is create this network, add some nodes, make some LSP tunnels across the network, and so on, and then provisioning service. One of the very important service for power utilities is SCADA. And SCADA tends to be a protocol that's sort of a pole select type protocol. Even though Ethernet is becoming more and more popular, I think there's still a vast number of SCADA system over point to multipoint RS-232. With the advantage that point to multipoint 232 is basically is non-routable. All right, so let's. This is our network. This is the core ring, and in the core ring, let's say that we have the control center, the SCADA control center at this node right here, 1110, and let's also assume that the backup control center is on 1130. It could be anywhere else. I'm just picking these arbitrarily in the network. So in this case, one thing that maybe we don't want to do is create a RS-232 point to multipoint that would reach out to all of these nodes, because it would just be too slow. If you had to poll each one of these remote RTUs, assuming there's one per site here, it would just take too long of a time. So again, we segregate the network, and what we're going to do is somehow try to create a RS-232 port at the control center that basically is connected to some 20 RTUs or so. So what does that mean? Maybe a large 20 node ring, yeah, or maybe a couple of rings. So in this case, why don't we create a service that's going to have one RS-232 port both at the main control center and the backup control center, so both SCADA system, the primary and the backup, could poll simultaneously all of the RTUs. And let's say the RTUs in this particular subnet right here, so I'm sort of encircling here, it looks like some 15-20 nodes or so. Alright, so let's create this this service, and before we do that, we need to make sure that we have the tunnels that reach out to that, and we do. And keep in mind that what we're going to use is RS-232, not over circuit emulation, because that would be point to point, typically mirrored bits or so. But we're going to use like a packetized or serialized so RS-232 byte that gets mapped directly into an Ethernet frame. And that eventually will be transported over Ethernet, so we could do this over a ring topology here. And so we created a ladder network. As we can see here, the ladder network touches both the main backup control center, reaches out all the way here, and it doesn't get across this tie site because it doesn't have two separate match nodes or two interconnect points. So basically, in order to reach out to the these sites right here, we're going to have to interconnect multiple tunnels, and we're doing this through this tie point right here, and then we're jumping in this particular logical ring right here. All right, so so it looks like by using a combination of ring 1, the tie site right here, and ring 5, we will be able to reach out all of the endpoints. Okay, so let's create the SCADA service, and we're going to call it SCADA 1 because we may have multiple of these, let's say by chunks of 20 RTUs. So SCADA 1, it's a serial Ethernet, RS-232, let's say 9600 baud typically. Now, of course, we need to have the RS-232 module. So what I'm going to do here is go around the system and pick port number 1 on the 7 serial. So this is a 7-port card, and it's a universal data module, and it happens to do RS-232 as well. Alright, so let's work my way around the ring. So that'll take a little bit of time. So I'm just showing you how I'm doing this here. Oh, it looks like port number 1 was already taken here. That's interesting. Did we create an RS-232 service? Oh yeah, that was a mirrored bit service. Alright, so let's use here port number 2. Oh, that's right. We had a mirrored bits from here to there earlier. Okay, so I expect the same thing's going to happen when I reach out to this. So typically, if you had a mirrored bits, you probably would. Here it is. So you see, port number 1 was already in use, so that's why it's not available. All right, let's just walk our way around the ring and select port number 1 right there. And alright, so to save it a little bit of time, I paused and I selected the port number 1, except in these 2 locations. The reason why, well, they were already in use. I would probably want to use a second module. I prefer to use teleprotection over its own card. And then the main control center, pick port number 1. No, sorry, that's a backup or whatever. Main or backup control center. All right, so we've selected the ports for this service, and then the next step will be where's the next step? Oh yeah, I need to select the master and slave. So here E1110 here is going to be a master, and the master can actually talk to all the slaves. Master hears the other master, but slaves, don't hear the other slaves' response. And then the 1130 here would also be a secondary master. Alright, so you need to have at least one master. This is why I was not able to click on next, so that's very important. So 2 masters, that's where the SCADA master is. And then the rest of the RTUs, as you can see right down here, these are the selected ports on the modules. And with 2 exceptions, and the exception is they're all on port number 1, and the 2 exceptions are in ring somewhere around ring 5, where it's port number 2 because port 1 was already in use. So I click on next, and now of course it's a matter of selecting the ring. So we're going to select the ring number 1, and then we need to jump onto the subring 2. Then subring 6, the tie site, and finally ring number 5. And subring 4 has 1 site there. No, that's fine. I'm okay. And you see, like, to make things a little easier, there is a this basically tells you that this particular ring touches 6 of the nodes, 2 of the nodes out of 24. So we have 24 nodes overall that are participating in this service. All right. Next step is priority. This is SCADA, so priority number 4 will be sufficient. It's not as time sensitive as teleprotection, so I would prefer to reserve priority 5 for protection. Here's a summary. The 2 masters. And finally, all of the RTUs here shown as ports hanging off the nodes. The next step is selection of pseudo wires. So we don't need to worry about this unless you're actually interfacing. So and we're done now. This is it. Close this. And as we can see here, if I go to my network tab and highlight the SCADA 1 service, let me reopen the network tab. And I highlight the SCADA service right there. What I'm seeing is highlighted in yellow is the tunnel, and I see here that I have the SCADA master, backup control center, and as you can see, all the RTUs here hanging off on this particular service right here. All right, so probably what I would want to do is do something similar, possibly doing the same thing on the second port, and I would have like one port for this group of RTUs, another port right here for this group of RTUs, and maybe to possibly, even though I may have like 6 or 7 rings, it might be preferable to keep them in a certain way, so I could join these into one group, or make a group of RTUs right here. Really, I mean, the constraint is more of a logical constraint than it is a physical constraint here. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.